home to. Yes, I am on my way.
Yes, people, welcome back to Let's Talk Premier League. We're here for another sort of news sort of thing, evening news update, really. But yeah, it should be good. We've got lots to talk about. We're going to be talking Greenwood and apparently him being unsettled at United, obviously, of the new manager coming in and him not getting game time in the position he wants to be in. He's now become unsettled. Rashford apparently open to a Barca move. How much of that is true, we'll get into. Chelsea are favourites to sign Matthias de Ligt, obviously, barring any miracle. The only way United would ever get him is if they were to sell Harry Maguire, and you've got more chance of me becoming straight and getting married to Kim Kardashian. We've also got a COVID-19 update, so we'll probably end up doing that one first, just because, you know, we covered that this morning. It just makes sense to really cover that because that has been, they've had their meeting and we know what's come out of that. Ravi says, yo, big up, smash the likes and sub to one of the baddest channels on the road. It's Free Man Like Morgan. Cheers. Love it. Love it. Thank you. Really, Rashford to Barca, is he really their type of player? I don't know, but Barca are changing, aren't they? They've got Xavi in charge. Maybe. We'll see. Greenwood would be fire under Klopp. He would. Big up to Wolf. What are you saying? Is this like transfer talk now? It sort of is. It's basically a bit of transfer talk, a bit of sort of news. So, for example, because we covered COVID-19 and the whole thing this morning, that's not really an update. Like, it's sort of like an update on that. So it's sort of like anything that sort of classifies as news sort of chucked into it. But we are obviously talking a fair bit about transfers. So it would be, you know, a bit like transfer talk. Transfer talk will be absolutely, but if you see this thumbnail, it's probably a sort of we're going to be talking transfers. Tomorrow I've got a really interesting show for you in the morning, talking about something that's still connected with United. They're really good for news because they never stop. I promise. I am saying, hey lads, Ravi, can you read? I miss transfer talk, kind of. Well, that's lovely, Kenny, that's lovely. Well, not that much. Brutal. Kenny's feeling weird, apparently. I hope you get well soon, Kenny. I am learning Spanish and goalkeeping, Kenny. Please don't kill me. Ouch. Did you get up a bit too quickly? Potentially. Aaron says, mate, I don't know how to feel about football continuing. On one hand, it's great, especially of those relying on it for mental health, but on the other hand, looks for postponements. Well, you're going to have to... I said this earlier, you have to deal with COVID-19 and the postponements as a game-by-game basis. You know, it really is a game-by-game basis. You cannot just blanket postpone everything. And I'll go into why. It just doesn't make sense. It really just doesn't make sense to do a blank point. I went to bed at like 2 a.m, woke at 7, then back to bed till 10:30. Nice. I rely on it for my mental health, Aaron. That is true. Wolf, have you had the news that we're signing a DM in January? An Instagram DM, Kenny? Yes, no, loving the setup with the talking points. Thank you. No, it's from Luckhurst. But let's talk COVID, shall we? You know, the favourite disease that everyone loves talking about, shall we? So we'll start with coronavirus. And what the Premier League have decided to do. So they obviously, as we spoke about this morning, had a meeting. So they were having a meeting at 1. They've had that meeting now. And they have decided to continue. Right? Makes sense, right? Premier League clubs have chosen to fulfil the festive fixtures despite ongoing disruption caused by COVID-19 cases. The league's 20 clubs met on Monday to discuss how they could deal with the challenges faced after 6 fixtures were postponed because of COVID-19 numbers over the weekend. The postponement of a round of games over Christmas was a possibility. No vote took place, and so 2 rounds of fixtures are in place across 5 days from the 26th of December. It had been expected that game week 20, starting on the 28th of December, would be postponed in order to ease the pressure of Premier League squads. Instead, the clubs have advised if they have 13 fit players plus a goalkeeper, they should fulfill their games. There are, however, talks between the clubs and the authorities to scrap FA Cup replays in rounds 3 and 4 and reduce the EFL Cup semi-final ties to 1-leg matches. In Sunday's Premier League fixtures, Chelsea named just 6 substitutes of their Trent Molineux, and Liverpool drew to Spurs without a number of first-team names. 5 of Saturday's fixtures were called off. Chelsea tried to get Sunday's fixture at Wolves postponed, and boss Thomas Tuchel said his players were put at huge risk, not just because of COVID, but also physically. It is understood Liverpool were among the group of clubs who pushed for the postponement of Game Week 20, and I'm not surprised that Liverpool wanted a postponement. Jurgen Klopp has been the clear backer of a break. He's always wanted a break ever since he got here, right? So he's wanted a break ever since he got here. I'm not slamming Klopp. I'm just spitting a fact there. That is a categoric fact. So for me, that you couldn't just blanket postpone the entire league. You just couldn't. Right? It made no sense to just postpone Game Week 20 because you've got, and this is obviously going to be part of the issue. You've got every club at a different stage within COVID. So you've got Tottenham, who have just had an enforced break, and now their players are coming back. So they're ready. They can play games, right? United, when it gets to this stage, will have their players back, and they'll be able to play games because I think that, you know, their players are back. They'll be back, right? Just simple. Then you've got teams like Chelsea who will have most of their squad back by the time these games are taking place, right? 28th, they've got 8 days now. 8 days till their next game. Obviously, I know they've got League Cup, but that's different. They've got 8 days to their next Premier League fixture. By that point, the likes of Lukaku, Werner, Havertz should be back. The attack force for them should be back. I don't know about Jorginho, but they will be back. Kovacic obviously came on as well yesterday. So I could go through the list, but you see what I mean? Every club's at different stages. So, you know, Liverpool, let's say, are just at the start of theirs, whereas Tottenham are right at the end. So it makes no sense to just blanket postpone every game. You need to deal with it by a game-by-game basis because, as I said earlier in this morning's show, you've got teams like Tottenham who are now 3 to 4 games behind everyone else in the league. It makes no sense to start postponing their games and making them add more and more. As I said also in the earlier show, we've only got 2 weekends left. Not 3 weekday match days. You could put 2 midweek weeks that you can put games in. If I actually work out how I'm going to say it, that's just facts. You've got 2 midweek possibilities. Spurs are already 3-4 games behind. Where do they fit it in? Where? Now, they have admittedly not got Conference League to worry about, but that still doesn't change the fact that they're still way behind. Then you've got the whole advantage, as I said, for like Newcastle. If they want to play their game later on in the year, they'll be at more of an advantage. It's very peculiar, and we have to deal with it via a game-by-game basis. It's the only way that it makes sense. Kenny says, COVID out, it's time to go, blood. Fucking COVID. Thanks for the memories, COVID, but it's time to go. Yeah, the memories have been brilliant, mate. Brilliant. Red card for COVID out. Can't believe Glazers won't just sack COVID. Glazers out. Virus is getting worse. Shake my head. I thought we were near the end. We were told that we were. Spurs have had 3 postponements now. If they went off for 2 weeks, I propose, they would have to cram 5-6 extra fixtures into their schedule. And that's just physically impossible. Unless they're going to do 5 to 6 weeks of 3-game weeks, which will kill the players. Kill them. 2019 was the last normal year of my life. Late 2019 was quite normal, but yeah. So we've spoken about COVID. Look, making the EFL Cup to one-legged ties, that makes sense. Scrapping replays, that makes sense. That will, you know, offer a little bit of wiggle room, shall we say? So that helps. But we need to find a way. They are saying January might have some impacts, which I pray that January is fine because it is a quieter month. So a break in January isn't completely out of the question, but it does make it still very difficult. It is still very difficult. But let's move on and let's talk about football. And let's start with, let's do Marcus Rashford, shall we? Let's do Marcus Rashford. The points at the bottom are not in order. They're just what we're going to be talking about. But reports are suggesting Marcus Rashford would be interested in a move to Barcelona, a Spanish giant said to be closely monitoring the situation of Manchester United's forward. Rashford has had a frustrating season so far at United, with the England international missing the first 2 months after undergoing shoulder surgery, while his form has suffered since returning. The 24-year-old's deal at Old Trafford runs until the end of 2023, with the option of a further year, although reports in Spain are suggesting he could be tempted away from the club. Spanish news agency EFE says Barcelona are keeping a close eye on Rashford's situation, and the Catalan club are confident they can lure him to the new camp. The report adds that PSG are also keen on signing Rashford, with club officials having reportedly reached out to the players' representatives. A move for Rashford might prove to be out of Barcelona's reach in January, given the club's financial problems. Although the forward is said to be a long-term target, with Barca hoping to raise funds in the new year by offloading a number of players. And do you want to know what could be key in this? And I'm not saying that this is a definite. I'm just merely chucking this idea out there. Manchester United really, really need De Jong. Not need, but would like De Jong. Would there be some sort of wiggle room where, I'm not saying you just do a straight for straight swap. No way United would not accept that. But could you see Barca parting with a bit of cash plus Frenkie de Jong for Rashford? You could clearly see that happen. Although I feel like United will probably just chuck him in, chuck the money to him and go in for there. So it's really an interesting one. In terms of my view on this, I don't think it will happen. Rashford, I think, even tweeted out last night. Let me just go on to the Twitter of Twitters. Why am I typing in Twitter? It's because I was saying Twitter on. Marcus Rashford MBE. There we go. That's what we want. He tweeted last night or this morning, one or two. He tweeted out last night saying when it was all just a dream, and it's a picture of him and Scott McTominay as you know, babies, them as like little ones. So I don't see it happening. Marcus Rashford is a Manc. He is born and bred, and I feel like for him, unless United are in a position where they will never challenge. Where they never challenge for a title or are never competitive. I can't see Rashford leaving. I think Rashford is probably the type of guy who will stay at Manchester United for the rest of his career, which makes a lot of sense, right? It does make a lot of sense because ultimately at the end of the day, he's a good player if you play him in the right way. I don't know if he'll suit what Rangnick wants from his forwards. I know he's got a lot of pace, which Rangnick will want and could use that as a idea. But I just don't know if it's quite. I don't know if he'll fit completely. I think Greenwood fits the Rangnick system better than Rashford, which makes what we're going to talk about straight after quite easy to wrap up. But for me, I can't see Rashford going to Barcelona, not yet. I could see maybe sort of towards the end of his 20s, 28, 29, maybe going to Barcelona. Maybe. But I just cannot see him doing it now. I just can't see him going. He's under contract until 2024 because you'd assume United would press for the further option for the further year. So I just can't see it. And we'll see. It's certainly not one that's going to get done in January. I think we know that for a fact, but it's a really odd one. It's an odd one. I don't know. Look, and I think Ravi said something about could Barcelona afford it. I just don't think they could. I just don't think Barcelona, not right now. I mean, they would have to, as I say, offload players in January or do it as a part of swap deal with De Jong going the other way, which United might accept, they might not. It's really, really one of them. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It's certainly an interesting one. But Marcus loves Manchester United. Absolutely adores him. He's a lifelong fan. He, United supported him a lot when he was younger and coming through the youth academy. So I think he probably feels that he owes United quite a lot. So that's probably one of the suggestions why it wouldn't happen. Now, that's not to say it will never happen, but there are things that have said that suggest that this won't happen. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's go through some of the comments. Bum, bum, bum. Right, you got Kenny pretending to be Ed Woodward and then being, I don't know if that's racist. Oh, shut up, Kenny. Barcelona have got Ansu Fati playing. Have they not? Pretty sure they got Ansu Fati. Rashford is available. I'd love him at Chelsea. Yeah, it'd be an interesting one. Chelsea would suit quite well, actually. Very much so. Barca have inquired for Ziyech. We might take De Jong. No. I just don't see it happening. Not unless you offload. Because that's the annoying thing for Chelsea is they've never offloaded. And there's one Dutchman that I do think you are going to get. So I think you're more likely to get him. I don't know if you'll get the both because that is very expensive. And by looks of it, you need another fucking attacker. So, you need a creator. Frankie de Jong is not a creator. So, do I think that Chelsea will get de Jong? Nah. And there's no way Barca are going to do a swap move for Ziyech and de Jong going the other way. That's just nonsensical. So, I do agree you are going to get a Dutchman. I think you're looking at a wrong Dutchman there. I think that Dutchman is more likely at United, to be fair. Makes sense. Swap Rashford for De Jong and develop Greenwood with Ronaldo, says Mustafa. Imagine Mason and Ronaldo partnership working together. What a deadly duo. Thoughts on McKenna being Ipswich? Boss apparently wants to play attacking football, satisfy appointment for the right time. I mean, I don't care about that. We've only got 5 fixtures covering the EFL show today, so we can talk about that. Like, surely that makes more sense because I don't think people care what the Ipswich Town manager is going to do. Prime, what will Rashford offer Chelsea? Got some people saying about Phelan, not really relevant. Rashford is a terrible footballer. Couldn't care less if he leaves. We've got Greenwood and Sancho. That's mad. So yeah, and I am Batman. Right, cool. So you've got the Rashford situation. We've spoken about that. Let's talk Greenwood. Let's talk Mason Greenwood because it's easy to get the United stuff done quite quickly, and then move it on to Chelsea because then it sort of works quite well. Kenny, 1, Ansu Fati isn't bound. 2, Kenny, you're special. Kenny is very special. He's one special lad, that's for sure. I am right. Ansu Fati does play at Barcelona. But time Kenny out. I'll leave him. But he fouled me. Right. No, I'm not going to time Kenny out. It's fine. So let's talk Mason Greenwood, shall we? Manchester United are facing problems within the ranks regarding Mason Greenwood and club talisman Cristiano Ronaldo, according to fresh reports. The English starler is seen to be one of the best up-and-coming forwards in world football, though is aware his game time is limited at Old Trafford because of the presence of Ronaldo. Now, according to El Nacional, Greenwood is said to be upset with his lack of playing time and the fact that Ronaldo will always be the first name on the team sheet. The report also boldly suggests Greenwood is not happy with the way the 5-time Ballon d'Or winner has assumed control of Manchester United dressing room so quickly after returning to the club. Greenwood was a permanent fixture in the side under previous boss Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but his future remains less certain under Ralf Rangnick. The German has arrived and has been charged with immediately turning around the fortunes of the faltering Red Devils after a poor start to the campaign. It is further reported Greenwood may even consider his future options with a series of elite European clubs understood to be closely monitoring his progress. With his contract set to expire in 2025, Greenwood won't come cheap. However, with the amount Arsenal are reportedly willing to spend on Vlahovic or Calvert-Lewin, it won't be surprising if the Premier League side go all out and spend a bigger fee on a younger player who has vast potential. It's not a case of round holes and square pegs, but round holes and round pegs. Greenwood and Arsenal can be the perfect marriage. A quartet of Greenwood, Saka, Martinelli, Smith Rowe can have a huge impact on the pitch for years to come. United fans would obviously not want their talented youngster to leave them for their rivals, whereas Arsenal fans would be hoping to do a Robin van Persie to their counterparts. So, for me, this one is an odd one. And this one, Ralf Rangnick has got to deal with this situation delicately as fuck. So delicately. Because if he, messes this up in any way, shape or form, that could lead to Mason Greenwood leaving Manchester United. And that is a danger, right? That is a big danger that, United fans will be hoping to avoid. They are going to hope to avoid that situation, right? For sure. They're not going to want to lose Greenwood. Also, big up to Captain Nat in the chat. Mustafa says, I'm going to be Rangnick out if he sells Greenwood. Yeah, I mean, I understand that. So about Greenwood, could I see Greenwood going? If his game time doesn't improve in the Premier League, then yes. To put it bluntly, Mason Greenwood knows how good Mason Greenwood is. Right? You don't need to tell him. He's a cocky, confident lad because he knows he's good. Right? He knows he's probably the best finisher in the Premier League. He knows that. Right? You have got a little mini Ronaldo on your hands. Back when Ronaldo was a kid. And that's the danger United are currently on. Mason Greenwood is very much the brightest talent, probably in United's youth setup, probably since, the 92 came through. I'm not even joking when I say that. There's not been a young player like Mason Greenwood come through the youth academy since probably David Beckham, right? Ronaldo didn't come through the youth system before anyone goes. But what about Ronaldo didn't come through their youth system? So Mason Greenwood is definitely the best that there is, and it's gonna. Ralph's gonna have to work a way of getting Greenwood into that side as a striker, and I think that's the key thing because Greenwood wants to play up front, right? Greenwood wants to play he wants to play a striker, right? He'll want game time up there, so therefore you need to find a way of getting him in with Ronaldo there and Rashford. Although I keep saying, for the love of God, Rashford is not a striker, but people won't listen to me. You won't listen until it's too late, of course. The situation with this one is quite interesting. If Ralf Rangnick continues to play Ronaldo Rashford, I can see, not in January, I think this would be a summer thing. I can see Mason Greenwood walking out to Ralf Rangnick and going, I want to leave now. I'm done. It may not even be Ralf Rangnick. It may be the new manager, let's just say Eric Ten Hag or Pochettino. Greenwood may, if he sat on the bench all season, or for the rest of the season, he may not even give the new manager a chance. And that's the situation. It's a dangerous situation with Ralf Rangnick. And he needs to get it spot on. Spot on. It's really got to be so delicately handled, and Ralf Rangnick is going to have to get this spot on. It's going to have to get spot on. And if he doesn't, they're fucked because Arsenal are looking for a striker, Chelsea are looking for a striker, Liverpool will be looking for a striker, and City are looking for a striker. That's 4 teams in England alone, and these are top teams in England that are looking for a striker. Greenwood will go into all of those. He'll start in all of them, right? Liverpool may lose Salah, right? It's a conversation that isn't being had within the ranks of Liverpool, but Liverpool could lose Salah. You've got Manchester City, who need a striker. Greenwood starts for them up front. Chelsea, Lukaku has not really hit the ground running. Werner is not being good enough. Ziyech, not really done much. Pulisic, maybe could do. Mount, not really being good enough. Cho, not being good enough. So you got all of these players who are in Chelsea. Greenwood probably starts for them. No lie. Greenwood starts for Chelsea, in my opinion. So for me, it's a really interesting one because, as I say, Ralph Rangnick gets this wrong. Ralph Rangnick screws up. And he's going to be the one to take the brunt of this. So he's got to start Mason Greenwood soon. Because if not, fans will become restless. So if fans are getting restless, you can imagine Greenwood's going to get restless. Greenwood has been in the United starting 11, probably for the last year and a half now. He's been taken out a few times by Ollie, but not for too long. He has been in that starting 11. And the other thing that also is potentially happening is Edison Cavani. Edison Cavani is leaving, obviously, in January, we hear, to Barcelona. Now, there's been strong reports, and we all know this, that Edison Cavani has been like a mentor for Mason Greenwood. Could Mason see his mentor being driven out the club by Ronaldo make it even harder to keep this going? I don't know. You tell me. He's already not apparently too liking to Ronaldo, which I can understand because they're both quite similar. Both very similar. Mason Greenwood's the hot topic. He's like the star boy who has got that potential to be one of the greatest players of all time. Then, on the other hand, you've got Cristiano Ronaldo, who is one of the greatest of all time. You see where the dilemma is? That is like if you had Cristiano Ronaldo coming through when David Beckham was there. Would have been unthinkable because you've got David Beckham, who was the best of all time, of his time, but Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the best of his time, or one of the best of his generation. So it's so delicately poisoned. They've really got to get this right. And Rangnick is going to have to show he's got managerial ability. But I also don't understand why you'd piss off Greenwood and not Ronaldo. But I'm just all Rashford, because Mason Greenwood is your best talent for years to come. Pissing off Ronaldo, yeah, cool. He's there for 2 years. Pissing off Mason Greenwood, you lose him where you could have had him for 10, 15 years. So it's so odd. But some comments here. Manchester United used to be a buying club, not a selling club. This is true. That is very, very true. Prime, maybe Chelsea need to try other style of play tactics because whatever you're doing ain't working. I know you got injuries, but that should not be hindering your team you currently have. Sky Sports here, best younger tier list and didn't even include Mason. But that's why it's why no one trusts Sky Sports anymore. I watch the football on there. Do I listen to their pundits? Do I fuck? And do I watch, these soccer socials or whatever? No, I just don't. I think it's all just crap, really. Rashford is an awful striker. That is very true. Martial, Cavani are leaving. Rashford could potentially be out the door. So why can't we just play Greenwood and Ronaldo up front? Well, if that was to happen, then Greenwood would be fine. I also don't think you're going to lose 3 attacking players or strikers in one summer or 1 January, shall we say. Cavani, I think, will leave. I think if Cavani leaves, Martial will be told he has to stay until the summer. And then you've got Rashford, who I definitely know won't go in January because no one's taking him in January. So he might go in the summer, but I don't think he'll go in January. So there is that as well. Because I don't think Greenwood will go in January. I'm not saying Greenwood's off in January. What I'm saying is he is going to get restless if he's still on the bench. Mason will stay, I think personally, and we will see. But I see him starting over Rashford versus Newcastle and being a part of our first team for the rest of the season. You'd hope so. Apparently, Ronaldo loves Mason and wants him to be his partner for the front too. I'm not sure about Mason. I haven't seen much about that since Newcastle. Well, hold on. Apparently, Ronaldo loves Mason and wants him to be his partner in the front too. I'm not sure about Mason. I haven't seen much about that since Newcastle. What? You're not sure about Mason? I don't know. David Beckham is hated by so many now. David Beckham is a baller. Absolute baller. I could see why Mason doesn't like him currently, though. Well, no, I can see why they don't like each other, or why Mason doesn't like Ronaldo. They're exactly the same player, apart from one's a striker and one's a winger. It is mad. It is mad, but you know, it's Mason Greenwood is one the best of his generation. So was Ronaldo. I mean, so many people go Haaland and Mbappe, and they're just ignoring Phil Foden and Mason Greenwood. I mean, by all means, ignore them if you want. I mean, they will just end up smacking all of them. It's going to be unbelievable. Big up to Liam in the chat as well. Sky could give you all the games for money you pay. Yeah, they could. They could. I see Mason having a big performance versus Newcastle to cement himself. You'd hope so. You'd hope so. Phil Jones outlasting Rashford will be the miracle of the club's history. It's very possible. Especially if Phil Jones's history record. Greenwood to a bowl. Here we go. Greenwood to Vancouver Whitecaps. Here we go. Mason would be better than Haaland, I think. I agree. Also, hello, Velvishwan. So let's talk about Chelsea and Matthias de Ligt, shall we? So Matthias de Ligt could be set to leave Juventus after the player's agent revealed he is ready for a new step in his career. His agent being Mino Raiola. The Juventus star has been linked to a move away from Italy, with Premier League giants Chelsea and Manchester United both thought to hold interest, and super agent Mino Raiola has stated his client is edging closer to the exit. The 22-year-old was signed as a long-term replacement for veteran defender Jorginho Chiellini after arriving in a £65 million deal from Ajax in 2019. De Ligt struggled to adapt to the different pace of the Italian football style of play in his native Netherlands, and was also criticised for being overweight in the first few months at the club. But he has become a regular feature of the club, missing only 4 of Juventus's 18 Serie A matches this season under Allegri. Juventus's precarious situation means the Serie A giants may be forced to cash in on their disposable assets should they fail to qualify. And with the reported price tag of around £63 million, offloading de Ligt in January would bring in some much-needed funds for the club to ease the burden. While the club may be reluctant to sell the players, representative Raiola has dropped a bombshell by claiming they are both in agreement that he should seek a new challenge in his career. De Ligt is ready for a new step. He thinks that too, he told Dutch newspaper NRC. His latest revelation about de Ligt's future could well be music to Chelsea boss Thomas Tuchel's ears as he faces a conundrum over 4 of his defenders' futures. And the reason that this is an interesting one in terms of Chelsea, Rudiger has not signed a deal. Christensen has yet to sign a deal, I think. Azpilicueta, yet to sign a deal. Thiago Silva, yet to sign a deal. That's 4 centre-backs that they could lose this summer. 4. All of which are first teamers, by the way. De Ligt, I think, will end up going to Chelsea. It makes the most sense. Chelsea need a centre-back. They'll get De Ligt. So, for me, I don't think United will get De Ligt, not because of Raiola, but I think it's because more of Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire is an £85 million signing. Manchester United cannot afford to let £85 million go down the drain in such a way of, you know, they're not going to recoup anywhere near £85 million for Harry Maguire now. They will, if they're lucky, get 30 to 40, if they're lucky. How do you justify, and don't forget he's club captain, one of the things that Ollie was naive enough to do. So he's club captain. You're not putting your club captain on the bench. I mean, unless you want the shit storm coming your way, be my guest. So you've got that as to handle as well. I think if United don't sell Maguire, they don't get De Ligt. which is why I think most likely going to Chelsea, because Chelsea are looking for a centre-back. De Ligt has played as part of a back three, I think, at Juventus under Allegri. I think he's played with Bonucci and Chiellini. So he's got that as well. So he doesn't really need to adapt or change. I think he'll fit in very well. He's a wonderful centre-back, world-class centre-back, one of the best young centre-backs of his generation. Has it worked out at Juventus? No, probably not. But I don't know. It certainly is a mad one. But I think De Ligt will go to Chelsea. You could even see Chelsea get Koundé as well. You could even see Chelsea going, get De Ligt and Koundé. Well, I could see that happening. So it's just one of them. It's just one of them that I think will happen at sort of towards the end of the summer. I think this is a summer thing. None of the ones I've just mentioned are January transfers. No way. I'd be shocked if they were. But yeah, these are all for me sort of January and forward. Now, what does De Ligt offer Chelsea? He's a good ball playing centre back. He's also strong, physically fit, and he's quite quick. So for me, that's everything they need. Koundé not taking anything away from how good he is for a guy purposely bad. For a guy to purposely play bad to get yourself sent off and posting silly stuff on Twitter, begging to leave. I would not have that at my club. That is terrible. Now, do you think Frankie de Jong to United could be a January signing? Potentially. Absolutely, potentially. So yeah. De Ligt plays left centre-back in a back two and can play centre-back in a back three. People say it hasn't worked at Juventus, but Juventus themselves have been declining rapidly for a good few years. Not his fault. That's what I've said. He is the best defender of his generation. Can play multiple formations. He's physically fit. He's strong. He's good with the ball at his feet. Everything that Thomas Tuchel wants from a centre-back, really. And I think he's better than Rudiger. So if Chelsea were to lose Rudiger, I don't think if Chelsea were to replace Rudiger with De Ligt, Chelsea have got the better deal there. Because Rudiger is an ageing centre-back, whereas De Ligt is not. But De Ligt can also play a multiple set of formations. We've seen Rudiger not really fit in a back two, the same with Christensen. Whereas De Ligt could play back two, and he could play back three. So it's really interesting to see how that works, and if that were to work, it'd be interesting to see where, as Lanzi mentioned, where Botman ends up, because Botman's also one of the hot prospects of Dutch football. Could he go to West Ham? Absolutely. I could also see Botman going to United, because don't forget, United are going to need to look for a younger centre back than what they've got right now, because what they've got right now, they've got Varane and Harry Maguire. Those are their two main centre-backs, you'd say. Obviously, you got Lindelof and Bailly as well, but they're not young centre-backs. United are going to need to look long-term, and Axel Tuanzebe would appear not to be the young centre-back that United are looking at. So United, for me, are in for a centre-back. I don't think they're in for this centre-back. I do see, De Ligt going to Chelsea. It just makes the most sense. If De Ligt's going to go to any club in England, I can just see it being Chelsea and not United. I can see Botman, though, going to one of the two. Botman could easily go to one of the two. Heard United want Koundé? Well, I mean, after what Velv's just said about Koundé, I wouldn't touch him with a barge pole. Lanzi, why would he join a team that lost to Arsenal? Velv, Koundé has been top three centre-backs in La Liga this season from what's being reported. De Ligt is the most overrated centre-back in the world. What's he good at? Almost everything you want from a centre-back. We ain't getting De Ligt because Riola. I hate Riola. He's so fat. Ouch. De Ligt is the perfect leader, which is also perfect. One, replace Rudiger, Silva, and Aspie. Two, to carry Christensen, who isn't a leader or presence. That would also make more sense. You could imagine if Chelsea end up with Koundé and De Ligt. That solves all of their problems. all of their problems. Christensen would then be a bench player essentially. So yeah, that's really that one. It will be interesting. It'll be very interesting to see what goes on, because can they do it? Now City won't get in there. Have you not ever seen the relationship with Viola and Pep? Viola called Pep a dog. They're not doing business. And why do you think Haaland didn't go? You're not telling me that City couldn't get Haaland. No way. There is no way you are going to tell me that Chelsea couldn't get Haaland. Why didn't they get Haaland? Because Viola and Pep do not do business. They just don't do business. Ligt only issue is his shoulder problems, but in a back three he will be fine. And Ligt at times can be clumsy, but he usually rectifies those. Yeah, I hear that. Ligt, Christensen, Koundé in the back three. Ooh, don't make me dream now. I forgot about that now. And Pep leave. They haven't been confirmed. We all know that Pep will leave at some point, which then City and Viola, if they so wish to, could do business. But there's nothing categorically reported that Pep's going to leave. So I think that is complete bullshit. De Ligt is the Dutch Maguire, but I mean, you just haven't watched Matthias De Ligt this season. I mean, don't think so. Wait, Kenny has another account. Ha, ho, ho, ho. No, Kenny, you shall fall. Well, it doesn't matter if you time him out anyway, because I'm just about to end the show. Because I've got to go over to the First XI and do the EFL show. So, busy day for me, but I don't mind it at all. We'll be back later on with the weekly review show, doing the midweek games and the weekend games. Tomorrow we'll be back in the morning, 10 a.m. For an interesting one. Going to be talking United again and a new chief executive. So, that position hasn't been filled since David Gill left. So, quite an interesting there. So that's tomorrow. Pep ain't leaving this year. He's already denied that. Are people too quick to say Chelsea out of title race? No, Chelsea are out of the title race. Varane, Koundé at the back. Who says no? No idea. Serious question. Have you actually watched football properly? Mustafa, that comment, you should be in jail for that. Or if we need to arrest Mustafa, get your taser. Oh, Jesus. On that note, I think we are going to wrap it up there. We'll be back at 9 p.m. 9 p.m. for the weekly review show. 10 a.m. tomorrow. If you're a morning person, join us for the morning show, which will be quite an interesting one. Something we've just started doing, because I start waking up at 8 o'clock. It's actually quite a nice time to wake up. Can even wake up at 9. But on that note, we are going to wrap it up there. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll be back later on. But until then, have a good peace.